Welcome, dear listener, to Wishcrafting. Today, we're stepping into the soft green places, the overlooked spaces between mown lawns and footpaths and meadow edges, to meet one of the quietest, most powerful plant spirits in the world, and one that is planted lushly in my heart's garden. My dear listener, today's topic is clover. Clover doesn't demand attention. It doesn't tower. It doesn't bloom in dramatic spirals or blaze with color. It kind of just appears. It's soft, it's low to the ground, it's persistent, resilient, endlessly generous. And that, in witchcraft, is often where the deepest magic hides. Are you ready to time travel with me today and traverse the green hills of my childhood while we meet this wonderful plant? Excellent. In that case, take off your shoes and follow me. Clover belongs to the genus Trifolium, and it is surprisingly part of the legume family, the same botanical lineage as peas and beans. The name Trifolium literally means 3 leaves. And while we romanticize the 4-leaf, the 3-leaf form is actually the true original clover, the one that blankets fields across Europe, North America, and much else of the world. There are over 300 species of clover, but the most familiar, magical, and medicinal species are white clover, Trifolium repens, red clover, Trifolium pratense, crimson clover, Trifolium incarnatum, and yellow clover, Trifolium dubium. Clover is what ecologists call a nitrogen fixer. It has a symbiotic relationship with bacteria in its roots that pulls nitrogen from the air and feeds it back into the soil. This makes clover a soil healer. Wherever clover grows, it quietly restores fertility to the land. That alone is magical. It doesn't take from the earth, it gives back. Clover also survives where other plants struggle. It thrives in compacted soils, grazed over fields, and disturbed ground, which is why it often shows up in places that we don't expect it to. Because of this, clover is a pioneer species. It arrives after disruption. It softens the land so that other life can return there. Clover's strength is not flashy. It's quiet and abundant. Given the chance, clover can teach us many things. But in my opinion, there are 3 big boys worth your consideration. And those are how to flourish wherever you are right now, how to thrive without domination, and how to weave prosperity in to your life through cooperation instead of conquest. You see, clover doesn't grow alone. It grows in mats, networks, little green cities of shared roots. In folk magic, this makes clover a plant of community wealth rather than solitary greed. Instead of get rich, clover says, Well, what if we never go hungry? This probably won't surprise you, but clover's deepest mythic roots run straight through Celtic and Irish folklore, where it became a bridge between the human and fairy realms. The three-leaf clover, or shamrock, was a sacred symbol long before Christianity ever touched Ireland. In ancient Ireland, the number 3 was sacred. It represented the threefold pattern of life that the ancient Irish people saw everywhere they looked. Their very relationship with spirit and the gods was reflected all around them in threes: land, sea, sky, maiden, mother, crone, body, mind, soul, birth, life, death, and so much more. But naturally, the three-leafed clover, so abundant on the Emerald Isle, gained a reputation as a fairy plant. And of course it did. Besides its almost evergreen nature and the 3 leaves, it grows where the veil is thin, on thresholds, meadow edges, grazing fields, liminal spaces between wild and worked land. The fair folk were believed to use clover as bedding, food, and disguise. Fields thick with clover were avoided at night because that was where fairy processions traveled. Fairy processions you might be able to see if you rubbed a bit of clover or clover-steeped water into your eyes, because clover was believed to give humans the sight. For witches and seekers in the modern world, clover gently removes our blinders, or sometimes our rose-colored glasses, and teaches us that magic was here all along. Clover teaches us to see what already lives beside us. It is a gentle but firm guide along the path to inner fortitude. But clover as a guide teaches us to grow inner fortitude without giving up what makes us feel vibrant and alive. But I am getting a little bit ahead of myself because I think the clover spirit is absolutely here with me, with us, and I'm going to rein in the channel session and the poetry and get back on track because I have so much more to tell you. In fairy lore, clover was believed to reveal hidden beings in realms, protect travelers, prevent fairy enchantments, and to help one see through glamours. When Christianity arrived, clover was rebranded by St. Patrick. He turned the 3 leaves into metaphors of the Holy Trinity, but farmers and folk healers still used it the old way. People then and now, both in the Celtic Isles and America, have held their connection to their ancestral roots, to the land and spirits. You see, the Celtic Isles were once part of the same unbroken swath of mountains called the Central Pangaean Mountains, when the world was one supercontinent. So, the same rock that lives in the high cliffs of Ireland's coast lives in Scotland's Scottish Highlands and the Appalachian Mountains. It also lives in the Atlas Mountains of Morocco and the Scandies in Scandinavia. The point is that the through line of connection to the very land itself exists. It's no wonder that when the Irish and other Celtic settlers came to the Appalachians, they were relieved to see so many plants similar to the ones they had back home. In particular, it must have felt like the gods had followed them there when they found the rolling green hills and the hollers blanketed by large swatches of clover. Even more so when they ventured deeper into the mountains and found beautiful species there, like the rare buffalo clover that only lives in certain mountain wetlands of North Carolina, or the smaller Carolina clover that makes its debut on grassy balds way high up in elevation. I can't help but think that after everything it took to leave famine and genocide and everything you'd ever known to go across the ocean to unknown lands and then come face to face with a plant that felt like an old friend, well, that had to have made a difference. I have no doubt in my mind that it's at least part of the reason why this section of Appalachia held so many Celtic people for so long, and why it continues to carry the magic that they brought with them and shaped alongside these hills. In Appalachian and colonial American folk magic, clover was carried for many things, but most notably to me, or maybe it's just what I'm drawn to most right now, is its ability to aid in safe travel, protection from curses, finding love, and keeping money from slipping away. And to those ends, 4-leaf clovers were sewn into clothes, tucked into shoes, and placed above doors. Clover tea was drunk before court cases, marriages, and risky journeys. At the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that clover can aid to build fortitude. Fortitude is courage in the face of adversity or challenge. Perhaps now you can start to see how these magical aptitudes that clover holds aligns with that core capability I have mentioned. But alongside the magic, clover has some pretty spectacular medicinal applications as well. Clover was used as a plant for the everyday miracle for a very long time. For love, for fertility, for bleeding, and for emotional healing, often aiding in easing bodies who have held grief for too long. Red clover in particular has been used for centuries in herbalism. It's a blood cleanser, a lymphatic mover, a gentle hormone balancer. It has been known to aid in clearing skin condition and regulating menstrual cycles, as well as aiding menopause and detoxification of the body. And interestingly enough, it is even known to cure tinnitus, which is the worst thing to have. If you've never experienced it, I hope you never do. Count yourself lucky. It sucks. But there's pretty decent history of red clover being prescribed to cure tinnitus. And I have tinnitus that just developed, so I'm going to be trying this very soon. All of these affinities may be attributed to the fact that physically and energetically, red clover works on the heart and the blood, helping what has stagnated begin to flow again. In magical terms, it makes it a plant of emotional release, of washing out old grief, having love return after a period of sorrow, having hope bloom once more, catching a new wind or new inspiration, reconciliation, healing after heartbreak, softening resentment, and opening blocked pathways to the heart. Clover is lovely. Clover is gentle. It's not the wild passion or the joie de vivre of rose or the refinement and skill of rosemary. Clover is graceful and it's strong. Clover is the slow, warm, safe love that always, always, always grows back, that you can count on. White clover spreads in mats. It carpets. It fills lawns and cracks in fields, and is the clover to reach for things in the realm of home, food, safety, quiet wealth, and slowing down to breathe more deeply. Magically, white clover is used in house blessings, garden magic, prosperity charms, and protection wards. Because of how the white clover feeds the soil, it can be worked in with magic to ensure that your rent is paid, that your cupboards aren't empty, and that your home remains stable. Clover isn't going to help you win the lottery, but it will help you make sure that you're taken care of. This doesn't mean that magic with Clover will keep you hand to mouth. Clover wants you happy and healthy. Clover understands the stress of survival, and it wants to give you the container to release the worry of survival and build something of your own. Also, medically, white clover is anti-inflammatory, antiseptic, and is an excellent remedy for warm conditions like bronchitis, gout, arthritis, burns, mouth ulcers, sores, all kinds of inflammatory things. And I'm not a doctor, but if you'd like to work with clover for any of these conditions, a tea or poultice are a good place to start. And do a little Google search and you'll find a lot of information on how to get started. Before we get to the next part, I do want to mention that clover is a plant that teaches us cooperative magic as well. And this is because, like I mentioned, it doesn't grow alone. It grows in networks. Many clovers create a mat when they grow, carpeting the earth in green. Calling upon this aspect, you can work with this plant to call in community support, mutual aid, shared protection, and interwoven fates. Now, I couldn't talk about clover with bringing up, of course, the famous four-leaf clover. But this isn't a separate spectacle, it's a genetic anomaly. A rare mutation where the plant produces an extra leaflet. And yes, leaflet is a very real, very adorable word. You see, if you were picking clover, looking for four-leaf clovers, the entirety of the clover that you would pick to look is a leaf, with each of the four sections being a leaflet of the larger whole leaf. So now you know. The rarity of the four-leaf clover is why it became associated with luck. But I think there's something a little deeper here. And so do others, it's not just me. Anyway, the four-leaf clover, not chosen by fate, but chosen by chance, reminds us that magic doesn't always come from perfection. Sometimes it comes from beautiful deviation, fun, joyous play, and curiosity. But I do want you to pause here. Or, more accurately, the spirit of clover wants you to pause here. Clover invites you to ask yourself, is the deviation that creates a four-leaf clover chance or fate? Did the plant choose to mutate, or was it influenced by greater forces around it, like the wind, the water that year, how dry or hot it was that year, or something else? Could it be both? Does it even matter where the luck comes from or why it was created? Can it simply be lucky because you believe that it's lucky? Could it simply be lucky because it believed that it was lucky? Thinking on these questions helps to build that inner fortitude. And as a byproduct of building fortitude, you also get confidence, a graceful, quiet, smooth confidence, just like clover. This is the spiral path, walked hand in hand with clover spirit, and there are so many lessons. Round and round and round we go on that spiral path with clover. And there is so much more to behold. In modern folk magic, each leaflet of the four-leaf clover was said to hold a power of its own. Faith, hope, love, luck. But in older traditions, a four-leaf clover was said to be something of a key, holding the powers of each element in its four leaves, which makes the four-leaf clover a complete charm of emotional, spiritual, and material blessing. The episode is almost to a close, but before I leave you today, I'm going to leave you with a very simple clover charm. First, you're going to need your 4-leaf or 3-leaf clover that you've chosen, dried, and fixed into whatever it will rest in as it acts as your charm. Go ahead and cast a circle to set the sacred space, or you could just go into the woods and become grounded before holding your clover and saying, "Little leaf and humble root, guard my heart and guard my fruit. Where I walk, let fortune stay. Where I rest, let harm fall away." And if you cast a circle, go ahead and release it, and then carry it with you when you need gentle magic to hold you steady. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like a clover protection spell, or to just have that little charm on a printable grimoire page, please check out my Patreon, where you are going to find that and so much more at your fingertips for only $1. If you'd like to contact me or check out more of my work, you can find out how to do that in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Wishamaya. Don't forget to keep your roots deep and your dreams wild.